Okay, bows and bow ties. I know I'm on a struggle bus lately with getting on live because there's just a lot going on, okay? For those of you who are new to my channel, I am the Black Opinionated Woman, also known as a bow. I give my opinions on things, so no, I'm not doing deep dive research on some of this stuff, primarily because I just don't have the cycles. But look, I just want to hop into this real quick. Sorry about my sinuses. Yes, I'm still in the loud car because they had to come pick my other car up via like tow truck. Don't get me started. So look, I was at practice for my daughter for something, and one of the parents came in, was talking about a soccer game for his daughter for another team or whatever. Now, my daughter, this is the lacrosse practice. So he was at a soccer practice, and it's for 5th grade girls. And what was interesting about this practice, no, I'm sorry, it was a game. It was a game. My apologies, it was a game. And it's 5th grade girls. And if you know what 5th grade girls look like, you have an idea that 5th grade girls are in that weird in-between stage where puberty might be kicking in, it may not be kicking in. And you start to see the boys physically are separating themselves with their bodies, right? Like they're getting a little bit stronger, they're getting a little bit taller. Like you're starting to see things start to shake out between men and women in terms of physicality. Now, at 5th grade, in my opinion, this girls and boys can still, I don't even know how to say this. Like they can still play sports together and stuff like that, but you just really start to see that separation. But this dad happened to share with me a photo of who was allowed to play. He said, take a look at this. And I'm looking at what is clearly a big boy. It was a boy who, in shape, you know, like when, have you ever seen like an athletic boy who's kind of tall but not tall, got the nice legs, the arms are starting to look kind of like the chest, everything is starting to develop. You're looking at this boy who's clearly like just a stud, looking like a full-on, really like teenager. And I'm like, I don't get it. So it didn't make sense to me at first. I'm like, why are you showing me a picture of a boy? And because he didn't preface anything, he said, take a look at this. And I'm like, oh, this looks like an athlete. Like I'm like, well, where are we going with this? And he was like, he identifies as a girl. And I'm like, yeah, that was my pace. I'm like, why are you telling me this? Like, what's happening right now? And he's like, this boy just played in my daughter's soccer. I don't know if it was a championship or I don't know what it was, but it was some sort of game, some sort of tournament. And I was like, whoa. And he's like, this boy who now identifies as a girl playing for the other team mowed everyone down. Everyone. And so I'm like, how is he allowed to play? They're like, he identifies as a girl now, so he gets to play women's sports. And I was like, this is getting out of hand. Why even have men's sports and women's sports, or boys and girls sports, if you could just do and be whoever you want? And I was like, this makes no sense. I just realized, by the way, I am driving behind another Bronco owner. I should pull up next to this vehicle like a creeper. I really should. I know they're gonna be like, lady, if you don't get from away from me, and like wave all like extra, like hey. But anyway, I'm seeing this specimen. This boy is clearly an athlete. Looks amazing, but identifies as a girl now. And it's so unfortunate because he said the way this boy just went off. And so, you know, as in soccer and other sports, when there is a level of physicality that comes into it, the way you can move people off the ball. And so he's practically, from what has been described to me, hey, he weighed, so what has been described to me was, now granted, I'm getting it from the perspective of this parent, okay, who clearly was unhappy. Something in my throat. So he's like, to watch this boy dismantle these girls the way he did. So now I'm sure there's going to be some whacked out weirdos that are going to say, oh, well, this is before puberty. I mean, this is as puberty's going through. I'm like, clearly, this is what I would say. If what he says is true, clearly it doesn't matter if it's before puberty, after puberty, or whatever. This boy clearly is starting to sprout up. This boy has like muscles, arm, like this boy is just a specimen, right? So at this point, does puberty even matter? The fact of the matter is this boy is going to have a different bone density, muscular density, etc. Based on the picture that I saw of this boy, and if I were to put him up against my daughter, who's an athlete, but she's still a skinny little thing. She's a 5th grade girl / trying to be a budding puberty girl. You know what I mean? No competition. And my daughter is an athlete. But look, let me tell you, for example, at my daughter's school, she's now basically just about promoted to 6th grade. They typically have field day every year. Up until this year, my daughter was winning all of the track races, boys and girls. This year, I saw this separation based off of the videos that parents sent to me because I couldn't make it. I had to go. I did the DC trip though. I did that and everything else. And when I was looking at the video, my daughter's still fast. She's still good. But now I was seeing that separation between boy and girl. Okay? She's still very fast. She's still an athlete, right? But the boy now, or the boys, they were starting to stretch. Right? You can see the difference in how they ran, how physical they're starting to run, right? And I didn't have an issue with it. That's why they typically have boys and girls categories. So getting back to this parent who was not happy. Based on what he described to me, I can understand why he would be unhappy. Because to have this boy, and clearly this boy was special too, like just looks phenomenal as far as an athlete goes. To mow down a bunch of 5th grade girls, I'm assuming it's all 5th grade girls in this soccer thing, like they were just being like just tossed like rag dolls. I mean, it is kind of like what is happening right now. And this is what I would say. I don't understand why there's this identity fight in terms of sports, because you being a male should, whether you decide to identify as a female or not, should have no bearing on how you play sport. You can identify as a female all you want, or as a woman. That's what they're saying. They're trying to make a distinction now. You can identify however you want, but at the end of the day, you have gametes. If you have boy situations going on down there, you should still run with the boys or get their own category. So to sit there and say like, oh, well, if I am a male and I identify as a woman, I shouldn't run. And I'm being specific, right? I am a male, but I identify as a woman, not as a female. I identify as a woman. There's a difference, because they want to make that difference, right? I don't. I'd say female and woman. Woman is an adult female. That's how I would look at it. But anyway, they are just saying woman is a construct, or society assigns these characteristics. If you are born a male and you identify as a woman, I feel like the thing is, you're saying, but what I think I understand is, well, I shouldn't participate on the boy side. It could be harmful to me. But I feel like it's incredibly selfish. Because what about the harmful effects of participating in the girl sports? Because at this point, then there's no need to have girl sports. If you could just do whatever you want, it's just have men playing, just men play all the sports. No women's sports. Because once more and more men start to identify as a woman or whatever, and they play in women's sports, there's not going to be any room left for the biological woman. All these whacked out weirdos talking about how it's the same. It is not the same. It is not. And so to sit there, I was listening to this parent. They were talking about how parents were taking the pictures and they were going up to the the organizer or whatever it was. And the organizer of the event, I wasn't there. I'm only going by what was shared with me. They couldn't say anything. They were appalled, I think, because that was allowed to happen. But they couldn't say anything because the parent who allowed this boy, who now identifies as a girl, to participate in this girls' competition, didn't think there was anything wrong with watching this boy just dismantle these girls, like treat them like they were rag dolls, running through chicks. I was like, wow. And I hate this whole wokeness thing. I'm just like, being conscious is one thing, but now it's gone so far. It's gone too far. So for those of you who want to jump down my throat and say things like, oh, you're just a phobe. No, I'm not. I just don't agree with shenanigans. Call it what you want. The fact is, there's a reason why you have male and female categories for sport. Whether you identify as a goat or something else, identify it however you want. What is stuck in my throat? I'm a little tickled. But the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, men and women, or males and females, are made different. We have different body chemistry. We have different everything. And the fact that there are people who want to sit there and try to split hairs on everything, there is something wrong. There's something wrong. And the fact that we are co-signing the fact that people have body dysmorphia, I'm like, why don't we treat that mental condition versus coddling and telling people that we have to affirm? I'm like, it's not my job to affirm your mental condition. If someone has, if they're on the spectrum, or maybe that's a bad example, if you suffer from, I don't even know what the correct term is for mental retardation. Am I supposed to affirm that you're not mentally retarded? I think I'm just supposed to treat you as a human. And if you need help with something, I'm supposed to treat you, get you the help, and treat you with dignity and all that other stuff like that. What I'm not going to do is say, okay, because my understanding, I could be wrong, but I think there is a decrease in some sort of IQ or something. I don't know. I don't know how all that plays into it. What I do know is a lot of times, like, you know, there's the whole, like with Down syndrome, there's that extra chromosome, if I remember correctly. So there's things that are happening there. If you have anorexia, I'm not going to sit there and tell you and affirm to you, like, yes, you are so big, continue to starve yourself, right? We would tell that person that they have to go seek some sort of help, medical guidance, and figure out where is this coming from, and why do you have body dysmorphia to where you think that you're bigger than what you are bigger than what you are. You would go treat this person. You wouldn't say, hey, I'm going to affirm all of your mental machinations that are going on. I was telling you that you're something that you're not, right? We wouldn't tell you, go on and continue to, you know, deprive your body of these precious nutrients that are needed to, like, survive. So for someone with body dysmorphia, you can have a level of compassion for the person, because I can't imagine what it's like feeling like I was born in the wrong body. I mean, that's crazy to me. It is. It is my opinion. I can say that. Nevertheless, I'm like, I don't think that we should be telling people we have to affirm all of this either. So you got people now wanting to change language, and I'm like, well, no, it's not my job to affirm your mental condition. No. But I can have a level of compassion, but I'm like, but sometimes we got to call a thing a thing. No, they shouldn't be playing the same sport. You can have your mental condition, but go play in the boys' sports. Don't do it. Put on a dress if you want. Go play soccer and paint your nails and all that stuff like that. But to sit there and to have this dishonest discourse surrounding the fact that boys and girls can participate in the same sport, I'm like, come on. That's like saying my husband and I can participate in the same things. My husband is 6'2", I'm 5'6". It doesn't make any sense. We can play with each other, but at the end of the day, realistically, I am not going to beat him in most sports. Unless I cheat. And I plan on cheating whenever I play against him. All the time. He's like, really? I'm like, really? So, that's just where I'm at with it. I mean, look, this wasn't a deep dive on this conversation. I mean, I don't really have a whole lot of cycles to dedicate to it. I just thought it was shenanigans. Now, look, this is a really good time for you to go ahead and just subscribe, because I'm amazing in every way and can do no wrong. Okay? Now, I know I'm on a struggle bus. Probably, I might be able to get back on here another time this week. I should be able to pop back on. But, look, I got graduations still. I had to deal with my twins graduating. My high schooler, well, he's finished with high school, but he finally gets to have the ceremony this week. So, there's a lot going on. But back to what I was saying, I'm going to get off. I just think this is getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand. We need to shut this whole thing down with boys now wanting to play in girl sports. Start a new category or play with the boys. It's really that simple. And it doesn't make me a phobe. It doesn't make other people who just disagree fundamentally a phobe. And you need to stop doing that. I feel like people who are like the extreme left are the most intolerant group of people. If you don't agree with them, they'll call you everything. Everything in the book. Very intolerant group of people. Look, if you don't like what I have to say, I encourage you to scroll up, unsubscribe, or whatever else. These are my opinions. Don't take these as gospel. No, I don't hate anybody. I don't hate that young man. I don't hate the people who are going through body dysmorphia, the trans population. I think it's got to be it's got to suck to be in a situation where you're just feeling like you just don't belong. I don't know what that feels like. What I do know is it doesn't make sense to say that, hey, boys should be competing in girl sports. Sometimes we have to call a thing a thing. But I do have compassion for a group of people who are just really just struggling. But I think that means that we need to invest in getting people the necessary help they need, not placating people, not affirming them in their mental disorder. My understanding is that is a mental disorder. All right. But go ahead and subscribe. I haven't asked anyone to subscribe in a while, or told anyone really. And leave a comment. Comments are welcome as long as you're respectful. If you're disrespectful, it's just gonna either get deleted or you're gonna get some disrespect back. And I don't really like to engage like that, so I'll just delete it. I don't like disrespect. You can engage in good commentary without being disrespectful. All right? Sounds good, at least to me. All right, have a good one.